What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL. This is the Season 3 semifinals, our playoffs top 4. We started the season with 40 teams, had a 9-week regular season where about half the teams made the playoffs, and up to this point, they have been battling out against each other to see who would make it up to this point. We've had a number of really strong teams already be defeated and not make it this far, so this is the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme to make it to this point. These 4 teams are absolutely incredible players with loaded rosters, and I'm really excited to see these matches today. Just so you guys know, we have 2 best of 5s today rather than 2 best of 3s. For the top 4, that is the format. It's best of 5, not best of 3. So in case you guys are curious about that, that is what that's going to look like. First thing I want to mention is that I'm really excited to jump into these matches. I have timestamps down below, so I'm going to mention a couple of real life things real quick before we jump into them. So if you are not interested in that, please click the timestamp down below. But I just wanted to apologize for not having this video out on time. It is it's my goal to try and come out with the video on time every single week whenever I can. Obviously, I know real life stuff comes, gets in the way and stuff like that. But man, these last couple weeks have just been absolutely nuts for me. To everybody in the Discord who showed support for me, I really do appreciate it. But I can't even, I'm sure I'm going to forget some things, but I just want to summarize really quick how the last couple of weeks have been. First of all, hopefully you can't hear it in my voice, but I just had COVID not long ago. It wasn't really awful or anything, but I was definitely sick for about 4 or 5 days. I had a really sore throat and a cough and stuff like that, and it just sucked, and there was no way I was going to shoutcast during that time. Another thing, one of my family members who I really care about ended up having a brain aneurysm, and by some stroke of luck or divine intervention or whatever it is, through the first surgery not being successful, the second one ended up being very successful, and she is good and on the road to recovery, and from what the doctors think, she should be all good and stuff like that. And I'm just very thankful for that. That's been a huge thing on my mind and stuff like that, so I'm very grateful for that as well. During this entire time, I've also been renovating our bathroom. I've been ripping out our old shower and placing in a new tub and stuff like that, and I've been doing this all while I had COVID. So there's a bunch of other little things that I can mention here too, but these last 2 weeks have been some of the craziest, some of the most hectic weeks of my life, and I appreciate you guys being patient with me and getting this video out late. I'm sorry that I didn't get it out to you sooner. I know you guys are totally understanding, and I'm appreciative of that, but I just want to let you know I wasn't trying to let you, I wasn't leaving you guys hanging. I really did want to get this out as soon as possible, but I just literally haven't had any time to do it. So today's been the first day that I've had time to record these fights and get this out to you guys, and I'm really excited for it. So guys, these are the top 4 teams to make it in the WDL. Hopefully I didn't put a damper on all this. I'm really geeked about this, but these are the top 4 teams. First of all, let's talk about our Season 1 Grand Champion, SurfTac, coach of Raegen against the Machine. This guy has been an absolute nightmare to face off against all season. He had a clean 9-0-0 series record throughout the regular season. He is trying to pull off what nobody has managed to pull off a single time yet, and that is to have a perfect season, not only in the regular season, but also through the playoffs. He has not lost anyone yet. He's dropped games, but never a series. Again, Season 1 Grand Champion. He made the playoffs in Season 2. This guy is just an absolute beast, and he is going up against another beast, which is Sandrooster. Sandrooster is also a Season 1 veteran. He's made the playoffs in Season 1 and Season 2, and now Season 3. And ironically, now that we have 40 teams, he's actually made it the furthest that he's ever made it. He has made the top 4 already, and he's hoping to try and be the first team to upset SurfTac, which is just impressive as hell in itself. He's been putting in some massive work with Edward Elric, Gargus, and Phoebe composition, and he's also had some different creative comps that he's brought out throughout the way. This guy's brain is just absolutely nuts. He is one of the best thinkers when it comes to this game, coming out with unorthodox ways to win. The math and different thought process that he puts into it to try and make timings of things work. I really don't know anybody who thinks about the game in the same way he does, and that is nothing but a compliment to him. So this first series I think should be really awesome regardless of who wins. I think both players are really well worthy of being in that grand finals, and I'm excited to see who wins that. So now heading into the second series of today, we've got Turambar of the Fire Ferrets, the Heinler 2 seed. So this is the only team in the top 4 who did not win their division in the regular season. The only reason he didn't win that is because JB79 is also just an absolute monster. But Turambar got that monkey off his back, ended up beating Ram 9 of the Rock Boys, who beat him in the grand finals in season 2. And for Turambar to win this, anime protagonist storyline, he had to beat the season 2 champion. He'll have to beat JB and beat the season 1 champion. It's a lot of work cut out for him, but if anybody could do it, it probably would be him. He's got an absolute beast of a team with those Elric bros and Mariluk. He's been putting in a lot of work with them. Turambar has made the grand finals in both season 1 and season 2. He's now already qualified for top 4 and competing to try and make a grand finals for a 3rd time. This is just ridiculously impressive. As somebody who feels like I feel like I'm decent at the game, and I didn't make the playoffs until this season, and I barely squeaked in due to some luck. So the fact that he has done this so consistently just tells me how good of a player he is. It's absolutely crazy. And he is going up against somebody who is just crushing people in his first season in the WDL. I had said before on his podcast, JB79, his and Ready Player Will's podcast, that this league can be humbling. Well, I gotta say, he's received very little humble pie in this league. He has beaten almost everybody he has faced off against. He only dropped one series all season, and that was against Spike of the Thunder Gods due to, I think, just kind of a team matchup where it was pretty skewed in his favor. But regardless, he's been crushing. I don't think he hasn't lost a game in the playoffs yet. Yeah, he beat me 2-0 and he beat McCrane 2-0, so he has not even dropped a single game yet in the playoffs, which is really, really impressive. He's got a number of creative compositions that he has brought out, and he's really been, pulling out all the stops in the playoffs. So I'm really, really excited for this. He's an amazing player, an amazing YouTuber, amazing person, and I'm really, really excited for this series as well. So guys, it should be a hell of a lot of fun. I know I rambled quite a bit, but I wanted to do a little breakdown on all 4 of these players. I have gotten to know all 4 of these people throughout this league, and I have to say, 4 really amazing people and 4 amazing players, and I'm excited for every person or any person who wins this. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and check out the series. Before we do, I take it back. I just want to say a huge shout out to the YouTube members. So I say this whenever I can, but thank you to all of these people for spending some of their hard-earned money to help support the channel. It really does mean the world to me. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the first series, SurfTac versus Sandrooster. WDL Season 3 semifinals going to kick off right here. This is game number 1 of SurfTac's Raegen against the Machine versus Sandrooster's Unicorn Gunfight. And Sandrooster, to no surprise here, is going to go Automill's Crux on his Edward Elric. Edward, Gargus, Phoebe, this is probably his most used team of the season. It has been very strong, but that is a unit on the other side, buffing up some wind resistance on the party. That is Raegen, the mascot unit for Raegen against the Machine, as the Invitation to Despairs comes off on Gargus. Keenblade on turn 2 here, coming up from the Dwayne, which means CT up on the party. Can Uni drop some bombs from long range? He can. 1300 damage onto the Gargus is not a whole lot. Does nullify Quicken, but unfortunately it only lands on the Gargus, and I think Edward is going to be the target of Quickens on Sandrooster's team. We've seen him run this quite a few times over the course of the season, and in fact he does get his haste off as well, as Uni was not able to nullify that. Protecting the light of the future coming out from Raegen means he's got his courage online. He's got a heal back. He is a very tanky boy. Even if he's not a true tank, he's going to be hard to kill. Dwayne's also rocking about 10,500 health, so a couple of bruisers here alongside that Uni with backline support. 26 AP for the Archer. Punishing Slow Arrow is going to come out, dropping that movement and unit attack resist. 3,300 is a nice start here for SurfTac in game 1, but Wallbreaker is going to do a chunk as well. Dwayne actually tanks it up pretty nicely. I imagine a decent amount of AoE resist. Uni does not get one shot, as Edward is going to catch a Quicken. Again, did not get that arrow fall on turn 1. That was only on the Gargus, which means he gets to go again. Adamantine Pillar damage caps the Uni, does a good chunk to Dwayne as well. And this is now a 3v2 in Sandrooster's favor in game number 1 here, but Surge Strike with the elemental advantage is enough to pop Edward in one shot. And Dwayne, can he find a kill onto the Gargus? Question answered. 8,800 damage from the Armor Crusher and is going to absolutely crush Gargus's soul. But Phoebe does have White Mage in her kit. Does she go for the full life? She does. Edward Elric's a strong unit, might be able to kill this Dwayne here. He actually is up next in the turn order, which could be big. Only uses 21 AP, does not kill Dwayne, and this is a massive ice unit on the other side for SurfTac. You have to imagine the advantage goes to him in this game number 1 here, as he is going to limit break this Phoebe. Feels like a little bit of overkill, as that was a ton of damage. And Dwayne going to follow up here. Armor Crusher, dropping the slash tech resistance and even giving himself a nice little heal back. Looks like probably running that blood sword here. Edward going to standard attack the Dwayne, will find a kill, which means now this is coming down to a 1v1. But Edward does not have courage removal in his kit. He doesn't have a way to drop that healing power. And Raegen is an ice unit. So I think Edward, unless he is just fully on steroids, I don't think he's going to be able to pull this off. Full Metal Rage only deals 1900 damage, and it seems like SurfTac was ready and prepared for this team from Sandrooster in game number 1, excuse me. The standard attack will get fully healed all the way back. Raegen is fully healthy, and that is a game 1 victory for Raegen against the machine. So heading into game number 2 here, Sandrooster, what does he have in store? Does he switch it up? I know he does have 1 or 2 fire units on his team. Does he expect the Raegen in game number 2, or does he call a bluff on the other side? Let's jump into game number 2 and find out. Heading into the second battle of this best of 5, Sandrooster is bringing out an entirely different combination here, as it looks like SurfTac has said, hey, it worked in game 1. Let's see if he has a response. And Sandrooster is bringing out Renan, Delita, and Rabby, so double lightning units alongside the fire unit, who we've seen run as an evasion unit before. Will he be ran this way this time, though? Not entirely sure. Boone of the Lion, the King Mont team are coming up from Renan, Keenblade from the Delita. And here comes Rabbies walking forward, Heart of Flutter, getting that movement just to massive rates here. And Rabbies, who naturally has a ton of AoE resist, with the King Mont TMR, might have 100 AoE resist right now. I bet you she's very close if she doesn't have it. Keenblade coming out from the Dwayne, punishing slow arrow, going to drop that unit attack resist. Again, not doing a whole lot, but that will pay off for him, especially since they just used the Sweetheart Eldira TMR. Raegen gets his courage online, which means he is ready to go. We'll have to see what Renan can do in this fight. Renan is an absolute beast of a unit. Only 90 cost in our format, just like Dwayne. So a couple of 100 cost units at a little bit of a discount in our format. Courage now online for the Delita. And Rabbies, does she go for a Steel Heart? Does she go for damage? She's going to go Bedeviling Blade. And in fact, that decreases AP by 20, actually, which could be pretty useful the more this fight goes on. Armor Crusher comes out. Just a little bit of chip onto the Rabbies, as Renan is going to go nimble movement, get his move and jump up. Punishing slow arrow from the Uni. Unfortunate, he had to walk into the middle of his party here to find the angle. Not sure if that's what you want from SurfTac here. Azure Blade Strike dealing about 4,100 off of the double hitter there. And Rabbies is doing a very, very nice job of tanking up damage. Can Sandrooster's Renan get in range to deal damage here? I think he might be in range. It's going to be pretty close here. And he is. He finds the bursting light angle, only does 2,800 and gets healed back up to full. How much more hate does Rabbies have? The answer is apparently 0, as Armor Crusher is going to hit the Renan here. Can she go for a Taunting Blade? Does she have the AP for it? She's only got 31. She does have enough, actually. It looks like some AP cost rate down. Maybe that ability went down to 26. I don't remember. She gathers hate, but she is now next to Renan, so AoEs will hit Renan here. Uni's going to use up the last bit of AP that he's got. Sonic Octostrike Blade, though, I believe is a single target attack, but it does do a ton of damage. This might just kill Rabbies. It does not. She is just putting in some work here, tanking up these hits, but at some point, Sandrooster's team needs to bring the pain. Delita's going to walk forward. Crush Accessory Plus is going to do just that. That is a ton of damage onto both Raegen and Dwayne here. Renan might be able to pick up a double kill. He does have Courage Removal in his kit. Sky Splitting Thunderstrike is that ability, and that is a game 2 victory for Sandrooster in Unicorn Gunfight. So game number 1, the Raegen putting in work. He says not to worry, I've got my fire unit Delita and a couple of beastly lightning units, pulls it out and wins game 2. What does SurfTac have for a response in game 3? Let's jump into it. Heading into game number 3, these teams 1-1 apiece, each winning one single game up to this point. Who will win this one? Sandrooster going to bring out the Jaden Rundall. Magic Blast Plus immediately 7,400 damage onto the Murmur, who you do wonder, are they running Bowtie at the moment, as Show Me Your Power comes out from Kefka. But I'm looking at the spacing here. I could see a situation where Kefka does not get his re-raise off here, especially with this Keenblade coming up from Delita. It's an interesting combo coming up from Sandrooster. Jaden Rundall, Delita, and Mariol. And on SurfTaco's side, running the Miranda, Murmur, and Kefka. A very, very interesting comp here, but Mariol doing her best job to walk way the hell forward and get out of Jaden's way. This is actually fantastic positioning for Sandrooster, I believe. The Knight's Blessing coming up from Murmur, though, is rough if you're Sandrooster. You don't want Jaden to get through all of his AP, as he's actually going to walk way forward and go for a golden magic shot onto Miranda. And now I'm questioning, is she running hate in the back line? Because he just walked forward to do that. I am a bit surprised by that. But maybe she just would have taken the most damage from it, but she magic reflexes it regardless. And that is pretty brutal if you're Sandrooster. Now Miranda heals back up to full, having dodged out on all that damage from Jaden. She's going to start channeling a spell. This should be a water gun. Does the sleep land is the big question. Kefka's going to start channeling his own spell, which is a hyperdrive. Removing that reaction block rate, and it puts Jaden to sleep. He would have went next, and they're all stacked up for an AoE here. And this Jaden, unfortunately, just getting blocked here with 2 turns in a row. The magic reflex and being put to sleep. He cannot get done what he normally would want to. The lead is going to walk forward. Crush Accessory Plus is a good chunk of damage onto the units, but it's not going to be enough. I think Kefka's just going to take out Jaden right here. And you have to wonder how this fight would have played out if the sleep doesn't land and the magic reflex doesn't go off. But it doesn't matter. Light of Judgment Plus just absolutely obliterates Sandrooster's team. Miranda should be able to go for a basic attack and close this out. And that is a Game 3 victory for SurfTaco and Raegen against the Machine, who is now up 2-1 in this best of 5. So what does Sandrooster have for Game 4? Brought out the Jaden. Honestly, I think he could have put in some work here if things go a little differently. Would be curious to see if he brings him out again, or does he go back to one of his other units? We'll have to find out. Let's jump into Game 4. Heading into the 4th game here, SurfTaco and Raegen against the Machine is going to go with an old reliable Sephiroth alongside the Whisper and Murmur combination. So the Sisters plus Seth. We'll see how it goes. And this looks like it is the exact same comp as Game 1 coming up from Sandrooster. I don't mind his odds here, though. Murmur can be very good versus strike damage, but Sephiroth is not known to be strong versus strike damage, which means Edward might have an advantage here. We'll see how much work he can put in. Murmur's going to start channeling a spell. This should be a fast cast. Gargus might be in range to deal damage immediately. He is. Windlash to 6,600. That is a good chunk. As Phoebe's going to start channeling a spell, I imagine a Quicken. Does she die in one shot to Sephiroth, though? Yes. The answer is a resounding yes. She gets instantly popped. This placement is very, very close together. So with this Phoebe being useless, does Sandrooster's team have enough damage to get through this squad? Edward with 50 AP, he's going to return a little bit here from that AP restore, though. Wallbreaker dealing a decent amount to both of these units, but Knight's Blessing coming out from the Murmur. This is now a ton for Sandrooster to overcome. Sephiroth is going to follow this up. What does he go for? Can he find the AoE? Yes, he can. Hell's Gate doing 4,800 to the Gargus. The one thing that Gargus has going for him is he has a decent amount of AoE resist, which means he will live a hit, but he's not going to live many more. Is this an AoE or is this a flare? If this is a flare, this might just kill Sephiroth. This could deal a ton of damage here. But if it's an AoE, I think Sandrooster just loses this. It is a flare. Does this one shot? Because this could do a ton of damage. It does. It's 7,800. Sephiroth drops. And now Sandrooster looks to be at an advantage here. Wallbreaker is going to hit both units, dealing a chunk. Murmur, does she follow up with another heal? No, she goes for a jamming thrust, and it's enough to kill the Gargus. Whisper, how much damage do you have? She might need to one-shot here. Protection Break's going to come out 2830. Edward lives with 420 health. He needs to now kill both of these units in one hit. Can he do it? Tiger Maw, he does not one-shot them both. Looking at the turn order, though, Edward is too fast. He's going to go before Whisper needs to kill. Crits on the standard attack, 1,600 damage. Not sure if that crit mattered or not, but Sandrooster says not so fast, buddy. We are going to a Game 5. Edward, Elric, and that massive flare coming out from Gargus, enough to pull out the hero victory for them in game number 4, and we are going to a final game for all of the marbles. Let's see who takes it. All right, guys, final game of the series. It is currently 2-2. in the series. SurfTac bringing the same composition as he just brought in Game 4. This comp is 0-1 in the series, but brings it out anyway. But interestingly enough, looking at Sandrooster, as a blinding trinity immediately comes out from Sweetheart Eldira, gets the blind on Sephiroth, but I think this is a full evasion comp from Sandrooster, which tells me that Murmur and Whisper are probably not going to hit. I do not think they're the most accurate units in the game here. Murmur's going to go for some damage, though. We'll see if she can land it. Crush Accessory Plus deals a good chunk. But this whole fight, I think, comes down to how much work can Sephiroth put in. I will... Ravi's, I don't know. Flare might... Oh my god, it still misses. Okay, I was going to say this... evasion is, or this team is full evasion from Sandrooster. I know Delita can be built this way, and the Sweetheart Eldira is obviously an evasion unit. Ravi's can be built dodgy, but the limit break comes out in one-shot Sweetheart Eldira, and that is the carry of Sandrooster's team. Does Delita have enough damage to pull this off? Protection break does land onto Ravi, so she at least has enough accuracy to have a decent chance at hitting. Revitalize is going to go off. He doesn't have the AP. And I think this might be all done and dusted here for Sandrooster. Delita needed to get AP online. He couldn't deal any damage on the last turn. He might just go down to Sephiroth here, who goes for Shadow Flare, his other guaranteed hit. He's got multiple guaranteed hits in his kit. He now only has 8 AP, though. So the one win condition for Sandrooster here is that he needs Sephiroth to try and standard attack and miss. If he keeps missing, he will not get any more AP, which means he won't have enough AP to land guaranteed hits. This is the win con for Sandrooster. But because of the blind, he has a 0% chance to hit, which means he goes Veil of Woe. He now has AP again. Honestly, that blind might have actually hurt more than it helped here, because then at least he would have had a chance to maybe dodge a standard attack. But man, oh man, that AoE, it's going to kill Murmur. Deals a chunk to the Whisper. Whisper takes out Ravi's, though. And Sephiroth, all he has to do is land one more hit to land SurfTac in the grand finals for the second time in his WDL career. Holy smokes. Hell of a series. Congratulations to SurfTac and Raegen against the Machine, who claims his second grand finals berth in 3 seasons. That is just impressive as hell, and huge shout out to Sandrooster for giving him a run for his money. I think the stiffest competition that SurfTac has had all season. SurfTac has not lost a series yet, and Sandrooster was so close to pulling it off. So we have our first team decided in terms of who will make the grand finals. It will be SurfTac of Raegen against the Machine. Will it be a Season 1 rematch versus Turambar and the Fire Ferrets, or will newcomer JB79, the content creator, the person we all know, pull it off and match him in the finals? Which one will it be? We'll have to find out, guys. Let's jump into the next series. All right, guys, jumping into the second series of this top 4, we've got Turambar, coach of the Fire Ferrets, versus JB79, coach of the Paranoid Androids. Resist Magic coming out from Edward Elric on turn number 1, and this is this double Elric Bros plus Mariluk strategy, the full fist comp. Keenblade going off, getting that CT up, and this is the 9S TMR to nullify status effects. Charm, I believe it's also Confusion, and one other one as well. It's a very nice tech if you were trying to prevent against that limit break from Kefka. So the AoE buff coming out from Kefka, the barrier from Rebelka, and Invitation to Despair on the Marial here, as Automail's Crux is going to come off from Edward, so he's got tons of AP at the moment. And Expertise of the Alchemist from Turambar's Alphonse, excuse me, I almost said Edward, means he's going to have Elemental Chain Resist, which will be nice against some of those fire units, especially with Dispelling Double Shot being a double hit from Rebelka. And now Kefka with his re-raise. Can Turambar's team pull this off? In the regular season, JB79 won 2-0. What does he have for a response here? What kind of different build does he have for these fist units? Banishka Blade dealing a little bit of chip here from the Marial, but the limit break from Edward, this should deal a good amount of damage, and that is 7,000, removing all buffs. I'm not sure if he broke defense there. It didn't say that it did. But interesting to see, as Armored Flash Kick is going to heal Alphonse to full, the regen will basically heal Mariluk to full, and this is actually looking quite good for Turambar in game number 1 here. Level 4 Fyra here is dealing about 3,700 to the Mariluk. Can she live a hit from Rebelka? Yes, she can, even with the magic attack resist debuff. as the Discord notification is going to pop off. Some damage coming out from the Alphonse, but it gets dodged by Kefka. And this guy is just evadey enough to be annoying, as Edward is going to deal damage to the Revelka. Pummel does not finish off Revelka, though. Mariluk cannot quite claim that kill. That barrier really putting in work for her, as Deflagration Blast will deal a chunk to both Mariluk and Alphonse. Forsaken going to come out, finish both of them, and these double fire mages are brutal to face up against. Edward Elric with the Adamantine Pillar will take out the Revelka, doing about 4k to the Kefka, and this is now down to a 1v1. What is Kefka going to go for? Is going to start channeling a spell. Adamantine Pillar cannot quite take him out mid-cast. If he would have, that would have been a for sure victory, but Hyperdrive deals a good chunk. He's going to get to go again. Come on, let's play. And seals the first game victory here for JB79. Very, very close fight. I will say it was definitely closer than either of the fights they had in the regular season. Can Turambar just tweak one or two little things to try and pull off a victory, or does JB79 just have his number with this comp? Let's jump into game 2 and find out. Game number 2 in this best of 5, and JB79 and Turambar are running back the exact same comps they just brought in game number 1. A position change coming up from Turambar tells me that he didn't like something about what happened last time, maybe trying to get more buffs off compared to last time. We'll have to see here. Is the Keen Blade going off from Alphonse? And Oceanic Protection this time. Instead of the 9S TMR, he said, hey, not worried about the limit break. I just want to take less damage. I want to get fire attack resistance up on my party. The new Summer Glacial TMR could be useful. Again, same turn rotation coming up from JB. Invitation to Despair, the barrier on Revelka, and the AoE buff from Kefka. Everything looking pretty much the same from both sides, except for the TMR change from Turambar. Is it enough to make a difference? As Mariluk is actually out of buffs. She has no other buffs online other than her TMR. As Kefka says, I just can't believe it. I just can't believe we are one game into the semifinals. It's absolutely crazy, as the re-raise TMR for Revelka. So she's now going to have to die twice here. Level 4 Banishka is going to drop the Bravery on Alphonse, and that could be pretty massive here, as he is a physical unit. Could be dealing less damage than he normally would. Armored Flash Kick going to do 3,000, remove all debuffs from himself. I don't think that removes the Bravery debuff. Maybe it does. If it does, that's pretty massive, actually. As Kefka is going to start walking forward, he is apparently not in range to deal damage. So Turambar's Alphonse going to be healthy for one more turn here, as that damage tanked up quite well by not only the Alphonse, but also the Mariluk. That fire attack resistance might be paying off for them, as 8,400 damage on the crit onto Mariol is more than it was last time. She has 2,500 health. I don't think she will live another hit. Level 4 Banishka going to hit all 3 units, though, and drop the Bravery on all 3 units. That could be massive. Boulder Blockade going to take out the tank. Turambar's now in a 3v2 advantage, but he was in this advantage last time. Will it matter? Terror Slash on the crit deals over 6k. That is a very good start here, but Kefka's going to find the limit break, and this time there's no confusion. Nullify on Turambar's side. Does he have enough resistances to get out of this? Yes on Mariluk, no on Alphonse, but the one thing going for Turambar is that Alphonse is the tank, which means he's going to get knocked out of that confusion immediately. That actually works quite well here for Turambar. Wallbreaker going to kill the Revelka, but again, she got that zombie re-raise TMR off. Can Alphonse seal a kill on Revelka here? Boulder Blockade will deal enough to kill her, but it does not kill the Kefka. He dodges it again. Again, just pesky enough, just dodgy enough to be annoying. As Surge Strike deals just shy of 3k to the Kefka, they are now lined up for an AoE. This seems like a double kill to me, but it only dealt 1,000 to Edward. That is actually insane. Did he pull off his magic barrier and I missed it? He might have used that skill and I missed it. Hyperdrive going to come out for 1574. That tells me that I'm almost certain he used it, and I think I just missed that skill. Re-raise coming out from Kefka. I think the magic barrier is now gone for Edward, though, because Mariel, I believe, hit him one time after that. Hyperdrive, yeah, now dealing way more damage. Who is going to go next? It's going to be the Edward. Full Metal Fist is enough to kill the clown, and that is the first victory for Turambar versus JB this season. He lost the first 3 games overall. He finally gets on the board for him, and did he figure out a solution to this comp? It is now 1-1, and we are headed into a game 3. What does JB now have for a response? Heading into game 3 here, as Turambar lost 2-0 in the regular season, trying his hardest to find a rematch versus SurfTac in the grand finals. Can he pull it off? Heart of Flutter coming out on turn 1 from the Alphonse. This is very different from last time. Maybe trying to shake things up on JB to stay less predictable, as JB79's team is way further forward than normal. I'm not so sure this is good for JB, though. How much damage is this going to do? The limit break immediately. Confusion does not land. Not that it would matter, because Ravelka would have broken him out of it. I will say, though, this is so much damage onto Alphonse. Unless he has, like, all skills turned off except for Armored Flash Kick, he is not long for this world. Level 4 Banish going to go for 1400. He's going to live it. But what can Edward get done here? Adamantine Pillar's only going to hit Ravelka. And as much as I said I didn't know if this would be good for JB, it's actually looking quite strong for him at this moment. Turambar's Alphonse should die to this next channel. And Deflagration Blast is actually going to take out Alphonse, which means this channel might not even be an AoE. It might be a single target on Edward. Terror Slash will take out Ravelka, though. And it is now down to a 2v2. So this is actually looking quite close again. Kefka did not get his AoE resistance buff up or his re-raise. Light of Judgment Plus not dealing enough to kill. What can Edward do here? Adamantine Pillar is 4k to the Kefka, but he is so fast, he's going to go again before Mariluk ever takes a turn. I think Mariluk might have needed to get a chunk of damage off here. I don't think Edward's going to be able to kill, and in fact, he's not even going to get a turn. Kefka is so fast, he's going to go again. He's going to standard attack and kill the Edward, and that is a game 3 victory for JB. So putting his units really far forward, almost rushing the other side, ended up paying off for him. Alphonse and Edward not getting off those really crucial buffs to try and mitigate some of that magic damage ended up paying huge dividends for JB in game number 3 here. And now what does Turambar have for a response in game number 4? He's only managed to pick up a game here. He's got to pull off something crazy, I think, to swing this. This is a potential win with the Fist comp, but I am curious to see if he just goes with an entirely different comp. Let's jump into game 4 and see what he busts out. Heading into game number 4 here, JB79 bringing the same comp he's brought to the first 3 games. He is confident in this team, and Turambar is running something completely different here, going with the momentum buff on Jaden Rundall. And this is a double gunner plus time mage comp, excuse me. As Lucy is going to pop Revitalize. I will say, I'm not sure if this positioning is good for Turambar, though. They are actually quite close together here. As Kefka's going to get the AoE resistance buff, the Quicken is going to come off from Shell, interestingly enough. Magiblast Plus deals an okay amount of damage, but not nearly as much as you'd like to see if you're Turambar here, I think. Level 4 Banishka coming out from the Mariel is going to do a chunk to the backline here. What is the timing on the Quicken from Shell, though? It's too fast. The Quicken goes off right before Jaden would have taken his turn. If Jaden was able to get a drill shot and then catch a Quicken, that would be really good. Lucia, what can she get done, though? Spiteful Blast deals a ton of damage. It just barely doesn't kill Ravelka. She lives with, like, no health, excuse me, 5,700, and she is going to double kill the gunner units. That 57 health and a dream for her. Light of Judgment Plus, I think, probably would have done the exact same thing, unless Jaden Rundall magic reflexes it. Imperil going to come out from the Shell, is going to land a kill. Actually, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, as re-raise was on Ravelka. But this comp from JB79 is just too damn strong. Maybe, just maybe, if some of those quicken timings were like a little tighter for Turambar, maybe he has a chance there. But honestly, I don't think he can win that unless he's on the opposite side of the map and able to rain down damage from far away. Ultimately, this fire team from JB just proved to be a problem for Turambar time and time again. But huge shout out to him all season. Turambar is an absolutely excellent player. This is now 3 seasons where he's placed in the top 4. He's placed in the top 2 twice, and now a top 4 finish when we expanded to 40 players. Turambar is one of the best players that we have in the league, and it was just a pleasure watching him all season. And to JB79, was an awesome guy, awesome content creator, and might be an even better player than both of those things. He's just an absolute monster. He will be in the grand finals now, winning this series 3-1, and he will be up against SurfTac. Guys, let's go ahead and check out the bracket and talk about the grand finals. All right, guys, I really hope you enjoyed these matches. I'm going to try and make sure to keep my face off the screen here. I'm actually getting a little close to JB79's team card here. But those are some awesome best of fives, excuse me. SurfTac versus Sandrooster went to all 5 games. Turambar and JB went to 4. I'm glad to see no sweeps or anything like that. I think there were some really competitive series. SurfTac, the Season 1 Grand Champion, making a name for himself, trying to claim his 2nd title. This would be absolutely insane if he pulls off a 2nd one in 3 seasons. I know he is a monster of a player. He recently was in the grand finals of JB79's manual tournament, and now we'll have the opportunity to go up against him in this auto tournament. So I think that is really, really cool to see. JB79 was one of those teams that I thought, in just terms of players, I would have put my money on at the very beginning of the season to try and win it all. I think he is just that type of player, that type of thinker. And I don't think this grand finals could get much better. I honestly don't think it leans one way or the other. I think throughout the season, if you would have asked me which team was better, I would have said SurfTac, but I'm not so sure if that's true. JB79, the work that he has put in with Mariol, especially all season, has been absolutely nuts. Using multiple different creative TMRs, from the Vega TMR to the Dialdo TMR, different things like that. And then using either those fire mages or the water teams, using strike compositions to remove courage. He's got a lot of really creative uses out of his teams. And SurfTac, obviously, with so many different red mage options. I think both teams are really, really strong. Both players are really strong. I would be shocked to see something like a sweep in the grand finals. I expect probably 4 or 5 games, and I'm very, very excited to see who ends up pulling that off. So massive shout out to both of these other Get Swifty teams, Sandrooster of Unicorn Gunfight and Turambar of the Fire Ferrets. Shout out to the guild Get Swifty. 3 out of our 4 final teams were from that guild. So it just goes to show how strong of players there are in that guild and how much they care about the WDL, which means a lot to me. So Sandrooster and Turambar, I've sang their praises before, but amazing people and amazing players. Nothing to be sorry about or nothing to be sad about. Making that top 4, very, very impressive. And this grand final should be hype as hell. So I'm really, really excited about it, you guys. I'm going to get this video out as soon as possible. And after the video is up, these 2 players will have the opportunity to start facing off against each other in that best of 5. And as soon as they are done, I will try and get the grand finals video up as soon as I can for you. And also, before the grand finals vid goes up, I am going to post a toilet bowl video, which is going to feature all of the matches from the top 4 on. So the top 4 teams, I will show both best of 3s, and then I will show the best of 3 grand finals for the toilet bowl. So I decided that would be a better idea than doing 2 different videos, one for top 4 and one for grand finals, considering I haven't really done any toilet bowl videos for this season. So just putting in one I thought would be a better idea. Also, I do apologize for not putting out any sort of matchup graphics this week. Again, sorry, I've had very little time all week. And I just unfortunately didn't have the time to do it. I really desperately wanted to make those graphics, but I don't have the template set up right now, which means I kind of have to start fresh, and I hope you guys understand. So anyway, I've had a blast with this season, all season. It's been one of the most time-consuming and also rewarding experiences of my life doing this 3rd season with 40 people. This has been just a pretty massive undertaking, I think. In creating this league, and I'm very happy that I did it, and I'm excited for this final week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful day.